So we are actually here to talk about the Devil's Tower today. I have some friends out here with me. I have stain all over my hands. It's a little sticky. We left Montana. We were sad. We were in the Livingston area, Paradise Valley, a KOA campground right there on the Yellowstone River, raging behind our little campground setup. So we drove for like 5 hours, and our destination was Devil's Tower in Wyoming. So we're going back to Wyoming before we're going to one of the most anticipated states on our list for making our way out west, and that was South Dakota. But before we got there, we had to make one final stop, and Amy's like, we're going to go see the Devil's Tower, and I was like, what? When we arrived in this Black Hills area of Wyoming, just on the outskirts of the Devil's Tower, they call it the Devil's Tower country. There's a bunch of little small towns. It's real spread out rural area, but there's other things to do besides the Devil's Tower out there. So you have other places like Keyhole State Park, which sounded really cool. We didn't have time to go experience it. You have Pine Haven, a town called Aladdin, a town called Sundance. Anywhere in South Dakota and that Wyoming area, there's a bunch of all these little towns, and they're just so unique and very westerny and original, and they're awesome to explore. So before, I know you came here to watch the Devil's Tower video, but before we do that, before we get started, there's something else I got to do first. Just the little things that you can add to your camper, your van in our case, that just make it more home to us on the road. And that's what we're doing. That's what I've been busy doing the last few days, is just staying a bunch of wood and doing little projects in the van to make it a special experience for me and Amy when we're on the road. Yay, I did it. One of the coolest things we bought was a bamboo bath mat, is what I call it. It's just a wooden board that goes right here, and you stand on it. It supports a lot of weight, supports me. So Amy enjoys it, I enjoy it, and it just kind of keeps you off the actual floor of the bath, and I don't know, it's pretty cool. But it, as any wood, it faded over time, and water, pouring on it constantly from the shower, it faded. So I just bought a $8 can of stain from Home Depot and gave it a few coats, and it came back to life. And I used the exterior stain to outdoor oil-based, and that way it's supposed to be better for like water and weather. And this is my new lens Amy surprised me with. It is a zoom lens, EF 24 to 105 millimeter, and I was excited when I got this. I was like, oh, I got a new lens to try out. Awesome. And you put your coffee or water in it. So this is what came with the van. A nice little cutout, cutting board / cover for the sink, and it's pretty solid, it's pretty cool. But Amy wanted to go a little more fancier, so she ordered a new cutting board. She had to get the specific sizes because we tried some other ones and went to Home Goods and different stores. But she found one online, but the problem is it didn't match the new tabletop that I stained. So I said, okay, well, do you mind if I stain it? And she's like, no, go for it. So I stained it. This is what it looked like before. And you can tell, you should be able to tell the difference. First glimpse of Devil's Tower. It was exciting because you could see it from far away as we're on the highway, and it's getting closer and closer. It's like a dark, shadowy type, structure in the background, but you could see its shape, and you just get really excited. And I just remember growing up, I grew up with Richard Dreyfuss, a great actor. He was in movies like Jaws and The Stakeout with Emilio Estevez, which I watched hundreds and hundreds of times because I love those movies. I still watch them today. And Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And Amy told me this is where they filmed the movie. I was like, oh, it is. This is so cool. They actually filmed the movie in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. This is where humans first met aliens. Right here at this tower, this big old stump, rock, whatever you call it. We made a turn on the Highway 10 and we came into, it looked like a little small town. There's a bunch of gift shops, there's some restaurants, and we actually came back and ate after we got settled into our campground. We ate at one of the restaurants up front, and so we pulled into the KOA, and I can just imagine this place being busy, especially with a lot of motorcycles, a lot of bikers come out this way in South Dakota. We got right into our campsite, and they put us right there by this big open field where you see all the red rocks, like the valley around the Devil's Tower, and that's where we camped. It was awesome because later on that night, we had heard and read that you got to take pictures of the Devil's Monument at nighttime because there's hardly any pollution out in this area because it's so vast and big. There's not a lot of pollution, so the night sky is just lit up full of stars. And a lot of shooting stars and planes and different things are happening all around the rock at night, and you see this big shadow of the rock and the tower, I guess is what I should call it. But it was really cool. So the Devil's Tower became the first national monument in 1906. It was signed in by President Theodore Roosevelt. The tower rises 1,267 feet above the Belle Forte River. The Devil's Tower is also known as the Bear Lodge. There's over 20 Indian tribes that used to live here, live around here, and the place was magical to them, and it still is, and it's very spiritual to them. And they come back, they have ceremonies here as well. And some of the more well-known tribes include tribes like the Arapaho, the Cheyenne, the Shoshone, Kiowa, and Lakota tribes. Woo! The America Beautiful Pass does cover the entrance fees to the park. Otherwise, you can pay, I think it's like $25 for 7 days, or you can buy a one-day pass, or you can even buy an annual pass for like $45. Motorcycles are a little less, I believe. I think, my opinion, you could probably visit the park in one good full day there is awesome. A lot of people do it in half a day. Once we showed our America Beautiful Pass, we drove in and you actually cross over the Belle Forte River, and then you're in this area like, they call it Prairie Dog Town, and they call it Prairie Dog Town because there's a lot of prairie dogs. I never looked it up, but it seemed to me like it was about 2 miles to the top parking lot of the tower. So you can actually go in, and there's a joiner parking lot at the bottom, just past this prairie dog town. All the prairie dogs, this big open field, it's beautiful. We saw prairie dogs, it was awesome. We just, me and Amy, I don't know, we're fascinated with prairie dogs. I know people from South Dakota don't really care for them because they tear up farmers' land. And they make holes in the ground and stuff, but they're cute. They're cute little things, but sorry, South Dakotans. But so we stopped there at the parking lot, and from there you can take there's 2 trails there. There's the Red Beds Trail, and it's all like red rock at the base of the tower, and there's a huge field that you can hike up towards the base of the tower. The Valley View Trail is another trail down there that you can get to from the joiner parking lot. The tower, you can only see one side at a time, and you can go all the way around the tower, so you can see each side, and each side is different landscape, different structure. It's just really cool, so you have to experience it that way. I think that's the best way. So once we reach the top parking lot, it's not very big. I mean, it can pack in some cars, but it gets crowded fast. The low haul is 18 feet long, and our mirrors come in, so we can pull easily into even a compact size parking lot. We've done those before. This awesome gift shop and bookstore there at the visitor center. And then we were on foot. We got the backpacks and water, and we just started hiking on the trail. How tall is it? A tower trail it goes all the way around the tower. So you start walking up, and there's 13 acres of just nothing but rocks, huge rocks. Some rocks are as big as a bus. I mean, they're just huge, and there's 13 acres of this rocks. And the path is paved, but it weaves in and out. And it is steep at some points. You know, there's definitely an upgrade. And as we were walking through the trail, there's a bunch of trees as well, and strapped to the trees were cloths, different cloths, clothing, articles, and bundles. And it's ceremonial to Native Indian tribes, and they believe it's spiritual. So you're not supposed to touch them, or really not supposed to photograph them or videotape them, you know, just out of respect for the Native tribes. And it's just very magical, very amazing. You're looking up at the tower, and like I said, different angles as you go around. And then once we passed the first side and got to second side, third side, I'm not sure. Once we got, I call it the dark side because it's very dark on this side. I guess the sun doesn't shine on this particular side that much, but you can see the whole valley, and it just opened up. It was amazing. The trees, we hit it at the right time because the trees were still red, and there were some yellows and different colors that were just popping, and it was just very amazing time, very beautiful, and easygoing path. We took our time. There's some park benches, and then there's a spot on this side, the dark side, where people like to climb. So a lot of people come here to climb all the time, and you can climb up through the cracks, and I mean, people do. We didn't do it particularly. We didn't have time to do that. It would be cool to come back and try this. But we continued around the path, and it started getting dark, and it was threatening to rain on us. So we continued around and went through a trail through the woods, still with the rock there, just different points of view all the way around back to the parking lot.
Yeah, so we're speed walking the tower. No, stop. Because Mark doesn't like walking in the dark. He's scared of the dark.
What's really neat is there's numerous stories from all the different Indian tribes I mentioned earlier. They all have a different kind of version of why they call it the Bear Lodge. And most of the stories are surrounded by, somewhere in the story there's a large bear, and it was climbing the tower, and its claws were so big it just left all these cracks in the tower. There's a lot of history, and I encourage you to read up on the different stories because they're very interesting. And there's several scientific explanations of why these cracks are here, and really, I mean, there's all kinds of theories. There's several theories. The gist of it that I got was basically that lava had poured down on the sides of the tower and created these large cracks. Also, it said scientifically that when water pours down on the sides to the cracks, and then it freezes because it gets cold there and snows there. When it gets cold, it freezes, and then also causes the rock to expand, the cracks to get bigger. So definitely a great experience, and something I'll always remember and cherish. If you like this video, if you like it, make sure you like it, okay? I'm just saying, if you like this video, just make sure that you like the video, okay? Appreciate it. It helps our channel grow, helps our community grow. If you don't know, we do have blogs and journals from the road, and lots of other information on our website. It's growing every day at thetatestravel.com. So thetatestravel.com. So one, hit that like button, smash it, do whatever you want with it. Have fun, just bam, hit it. Hopefully we maybe provided some cool information for you guys on your next journey.
You guys should really take a minute and subscribe to the channel. The Tate's got some pretty cool content, and they are kind of funny too. Funny looking, that is. I don't know, just my opinion.